Hello guys, my name is Shahseb Haider. In today's video, we are going to discuss one of the important topic in Python that is called list. So if you're a data analyst or you want to play with the data, lists are very helpful in that context. You want to do web scraping, you have a log file, you want to pass some kind of data in that, you have an Excel file, you want to select some specific rows, columns. So in that context, lists are really helpful. So let me share my screen with you guys and we continue further. This is my Python IDE environment spider. So list basically is a collection of ordered modifiable objects. The elements in the list, those are modifiable. You can modify them and those are in order. You can choose certain positions and you can play on that. So this is an example of a list uh, where our first element is integer, second element is type of string. So basically, I told you it's a collection of ordered objects. Here's a collection of ordered objects. There are multiple type of orders of data. Like you can see, integers, strings, integers again. These are decimal or float value. This is a list in a list. You can call it nested list, and this is tuple value. So we have declared a list with the name li2, and using the assignment operator, we can put the values in the list. So you can, if you want to initiate an empty list, you can do like li1 or something, whatever the name you give, and then put this one. This is an empty list. So in the empty list, you can put the data, or you can load any text file into the form of list. If you have some text file, you don't want to enter the data manually, you can uh, upload the files into form of list as well. So we will talk about that or see later. So this is about the list, how to initiate the list. We can, for the example point of view, we can take a simple form of list. To create a list with a value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's enough. So 7, 8, 9, and 10. That would be good. So we have this list L1. And for example, I want to see the last value in the list. I want to perform some kind of operation on that. So I will do is I put the li1 list name, and then I put the square bracket, and in the square bracket I put -1. -1 presents the last value of in the list. So if I run it, it will show me the last value of the list. For example, I want to select all of the values in a list. What I will do, I will select 0, colon, 10, because I know the number of values or number of elements in a list are 10. So I started from the 0 index till the end 10. So if I run it, so it will show me all of the values in a list. We can look it in multiple ways, other ways. So li1 into, for example, there's multiple ways to present the same data in multiple ways. So if I put just colon in here, I do not give any number. What it's gonna do, it will show us all of the numbers again. So what does that mean? Before the colon, I did not specify any position. That means it's gonna start from on the left side, the initial value, and on the right side, the last value. That you can say is like 0 to -1. What if I do it here right now? Because I never experienced, I never checked this one. So okay, what is showing when we specify some values in here, what it does not count the last element. Like in here, if I start from 0 to 10, that those are total 11 numbers. So the last one is not counted. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 index will be in here. So it did not count the 10th one. So the same way, it did not count the last value. This one, like it's 10. So it did not count the last one, and it showed us from 1 to 9. Similarly, there are many other ways to look at the data. Li1 into, for example, I want to see, uh, let me run the code. What it show us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it skipped the last four values. Why? -1, as we saw here, -1 equals 10 in here. So it's -1, -2, -3, -4. So it skipped last four values. As I told you earlier, it will not count the last element. -1, -2, -3, -4. So till this point, it didn't count anything. And here from 0 to 5 indexes, or value 1 to 6, it shows us the value of this one. Or we can also do something like in here, I say -4 into colon and I leave it. So what does this show? It shows the value from -1, -2, -3, -4. From -4 to onwards. If I don't specify any value here, that means like from -4, this value till the end, it's here. So this is how you can play with the list. Or you can do one more thing. You can check the length of the list as well. If I run it, it's 10. So you can perform operations into the list as well. Li1 into, for example, I say, I want to give values from 0 to, if I don't specify any value here, that will take from the initial index 0 to length of li1. What is going to show? Length of li1 is 10. So 0 to 10, it's going to show us all of the values again. So this is also a way to look at the data. Now we can append the values with the list. We can remove the values. We can extend the values. There are certain type of operations that you can perform with the list. So let's start with the append one. I want to append into values. So for example, I say I want to, let's take an example of li2, because that will be more appropriate here. Now I just comment out this one. So now we are talking about this thing, or again, okay. So when we are appending the data, let's say last item. Now, if I look at the value of li2, oh, I still did not executed this list. Now li2 values are 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal is this a list and then a tuple value. So how many elements we can look at in li2? There are 6 objects or 6 elements in a list li2. So what if I do append this? Now if I check the value li2 is the last item is appended at the last of the item. You can name anything in anything here, or you can pass a list as well. If you just copy this list, or if you have some other list, you can just copy in here in between these brackets, and it will be appended at the last index of the list li2. Now you can do one more thing. You can extend the list as well. For example, I want to append list 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so what it's gonna do, it will append list into the end, and it appended as it is the list. Now if what if I do extend in here and I do the same thing in here? I copy this and pass it here. This time it will not append as it is the list, the whole list. What it will do, it will merge the elements of this list 1 to 3 into the existing list li2. So if I run it and if I see the values of the list li2, so you can see that before this, when we appended the list L1 2 3, it shows us here, and now we have extended. Now the values are merged into the existing list. So this is how the operations on the list you can perform. We can see now current length of the list 2 is 11, so we can delete some of the elements in here as it's getting lengthy. li2, I do del li2, and how, like, from I want to delete last four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so -5. I say -5 till end. So what it's gonna do? It's gonna take the element -1, -2, -3, -4 as it is. It's the one element in the list now. -3, -4, 1, 2, 3, and -5. So -5 to onwards. So all of these elements will be removed or deleted. I run it. Now if I check the value of the list 2, again this we have been written with the same list. So this is how you can play with the list. If you want to extend the value, append the value, you want to delete some items, or you can do one more operation, li2 dot insert. And in insert, for example, I want to replace this one integer value with a string value. I would say at position 0, replace one integer 1 with the string 1, one. If I run it, now if I check my li2, so you can see that that is being replaced with the 1 at position. We have integer value 1 at position 0. Now at position 0, we had string value 1. And what happened? The other one is not being deleted. That is being pushed onto the right. So the whole list will be pushed onto the right side. You can see in here. So now if I check the elements in our list, so are 7. Before this, it was 6. So this is how insert operations works. There are more in list to play with. You can modify the list as well. For example, I do not want to push the elements onto the right that we did with the insert function. Instead, that I want to replace this value, right? So well, now you can see our list. This is our li2 current list form. So if I do li2 into, I want to replace 0 position, this is the assignment operator, with what? 1, right? So if I run it now, what will happen? li2, so what it did, it replaced 1 with the integer 1. It did not push the elements to the right, but it replaced those. So we modified one of the elements in here. So this is also a way to, like, you can modify the things. For example, I want to modify this list. What it will do, li2, first we look at the index, at which index this element, this list is positioned. So li2 dot index, and I put the directly this thing in here, copy, paste in here, and if I run it, it will show us the index number. So at index 5, this list is available. So I want to change this a with the string apple into here. So what I'm gonna do is li2 dot, no, li2 into, I will put the square brackets, and at position 5, at this position 5 where the square bracket is positioned, I will put in at position 5, I want to replace this element a. So just take it as an example, like it's the simple list and the position of the a string is 0 and this is 1. If there's one more element, that will be at position 2. So at position 0, I want to replace, at position 0, I want to replace it. I'm using the assignment operator again to replace the value. I want to replace it with the string apple. So if I run it again and I look at the li2, now in a list li2 and into the position 5 where the one more list was available with the values a and b, I replaced a with the apple. So this is how you can replace, like, first I hope you got the point. So we have to move further, and we also saw that how we can delete the item. For let's take more example, like we have in our current list, we have 2 ones available in here in the integer form. What I can do is, like, li2 dot remove, and I put 1 in here, and if I run it, what it's gonna do, it will replace the leftmost element, li2. So what it shows is like 1, 2, 3. No, that one of the element in here has been deleted. So I just had to pause the video for some purpose. So if I look at the value list 2, these are the elements in list 2. The current length of the list 2 is 6. what we did here. And now, for example, if let me do one more operation, li2 dot append into one. Now if I check li2, we have two elements with the same, like two integers in there with one. Okay, so if I want to count like a specific integers in a list, because this is just an example, you know, when in real life we have very big files, we have a lot of data in there. So if you want to count certain type of certain value, you can do li2 dot count, and you can pass the value in here. If I run it, it's 2. So we have two number, we have the count of 2 of the value 1 integers 2. So with 2 times we have integer value 1. You can also check the type whatever you want. And now if I move a little bit further, this is kind of mess that has been created in here. Okay, so if we move further, we saw that how we can find some value at certain index. For example, if I want to see this tuple value, or uh, at which index it is lying, we can do like li2 dot index, and I pass the value. If I run it at index 5, this tuple value is lying. Tuples or is also a type of data that you cannot modify. Like you saw that I have replaced a into the li2 with the apple, but here in tuple I cannot replace this one. These are not modifiable. There are some certain conditions under which those are modifiable, otherwise you cannot. So we will talk about the tuple later, not in this video. You can do certain more operations, like reverse the list. I do li2 dot reverse, and if I run it, now if I check what we have before, we have 1, 2, 3 in this sequence. So if I checked li2 again, the sequence should have been changed. Okay, here's changed 1, 2, 3 is starting from the rightmost to the end. So we just perform one more type of this operation, and we got the original values again. So this one, and we also have some functions like sorted. For example, I have a list 1 equals, we have already there. I just enable this one again, I run it. Now we have this list 1. Now I have to declare one more list. Like 3 equals 1, 3, 1, 4, 5, or 3, 2. So these are randomly placed, unordered, right now. Then these are not in sequence like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just run it, and what if I reverse this value? Not reverse, sort li3 dot sort. I run it. Now if I check the value of li3, the list should have been sorted. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same goes with the letters, alphabets. Like if it's A, C is something, so it will sort them out and present you in a ordered way. But if the values, like for example, if this list contains A, B, C, let's see. Now, no, we cannot place this in here in this form. We have to this way, A, B, and I have C. So for example, we have a list now with the values, with these values. What if I try to solve it now? It will not support because they are it's a mix of integers and strings. So the data set type should be the same into the list when you are sorting some type of list. So this is also we covered. We saw the how to reverse the list. Now we can move on how to generate copies, shallow copies and deep copies. I will tell you the concept of between these two. Shallow copies are the copies, like for example, I remove all of these, and I have a list right now with this value. I clear everything again, comment this one. Now if I make a copy li1 or li copy list, shallow copy list equals, I say li2 into column. So you know that I'm starting the position with the index 0 till the end if I'm not specifying any certain indexes in here. So if I with the assignment operator in between this, so I want to generate a shallow copy with the name copy list, from which this one I want to generate of copy li2. So I run it, and if I check the contents of the copy list, these are the same one. What a shallow copy does, any changes that you make in any of the list, either in list li2 or and either in list or copy list, it will be reflected into the other or vice versa. Let's do that one. I want to see at which position this is placed. 0 1 2 3 4. At fourth position we have a list that is modifiable. You can only, okay, this the modifiable, so let's do it. Li2, or I do with this copy list. Into fourth position I want to replace the value of a, because a value of a is at index 0. Into this list the value of a is at index 0. So if I do I want to replace it with the apple again. Now I'm doing performing operation on the copy list, right? So I run it. Now copy list, we have been replaced we have replaced apple with the value string a. Now if I check the li2, that's also been reflected into the li2 as well. So this is how, that's the meaning of the shallow copy. But one thing to notice that it will only the values that will be reflected into the other list are only those values which are modifiable, which like the list is modifiable, I told you in the start of the video, but this value is not modifiable. You cannot modify uh, an integer or string. You can perform some kind of operations, but you cannot modify them like I did with it. I have just changed the whole value of this thing. So this is called of shallow copy. For example, let me show you one more thing. Instead of this thing, let's say I want to replace uh, now you could see, okay, so what I'm doing here, into the same copy list, we check the copy list, we have at position 0, at index 0 we have the value of integer 1, right? So I want to replace it at position 0 with the value 2, and I'm doing it into the copy list. I run it. Now I check the copy list, so 1 is been replaced with the value 2, right? So what I'm trying to show, it will not be reflected into the li2. As I told you earlier, only the objects that are modifiable, those will be reflected, not the ones that are not modifiable. So for example, you do not want this reflection into the other list. You want as it is the thing, so you can generate a deep copy. We have to import a module, copy, run it, and now if I do deep copy equals copy dot deep copy, and I place the list here li2. Now if I check the value of li2, now it's this one. I place the, now I'm passing the value as a parameter into the deep copy function method, and with the new copy with the name dc will be generated. So I run it this command. Now if I check the value of the deep copy, it's this one, right? So what's the purpose of the deep copy? Now any changes that will be done into the deep copy will not be reflected into the li2, right? It was possible into the shallow copy, but it will not be done into the deep copy. Now you can replace, now if you try to replace this apple with the again value a, so it will not be done. You can try it with your own, or we can, okay, let's do it. Won't take too much time. At position 1 2 0 1 2 3 4, at fourth position we have a list, and into the fourth position at index 1, in this list at index 1 there is an apple, at index 0 there is an apple, at index 0 I want to replace it with the value a. If I do it, right? Now if I check the value has been replaced, but if I check the value, the elements on the li2, it will not be replaced, right? This is called a deep copy. That's the difference between the deep copy and shallow copy. So it is always preferable to perform, even in real world, to perform operations on the copy of the list or copy of the dictionary. Do not perform or test any operations on the original one. This is something that is recommended. One more thing that people do just to copy. So for example, I just remove everything here. I just clear all the variables. Now if I take this list, what now we have a list li2 with the values, with the elements in here. If I want to generate li1 equals li2, some people try to make a copy with this way. This assignment operator, what it does, it generates the same copy, but these in actual are the two labels. li1 and li2 are the two labels that are referring, that are that are being used as the reference point to the same location. Let me show you. li1, if I check the id of the li1, this one, right? Is And if I check the id of the li2, now it's the same id. So both of the list with the name, both of the labels, these are called labels basically. Now because it's these are referencing to the same point, to the same location into the memory, so the memory is the same this way. So any changes that you will make in this way, in any of these copies, like if I replace one, it was not possible to the shallow copy or deep copy, but this is like if I do any kind of changes in here li2, it will be reflected in one. If I do any changes in li1, it will be reflected into either that is modifiable or not. It does not matter. This is something that people do not use. I'm just saying that some people confuse with this way. They think it's type of making a copy, but it's not. We have just two ways. uh, do this way. This is shallow copy and this is deep copy. So hope you would like the video. I'll be back with some more content. I try to cover most of the content into the list, and I hope you got that. So see you with the next video. Thanks.